The question is, does Rob think that a list exists, that our government has access to it, and then has decided to bury it?
Happy anniversary, Dave.
Rob, it's a big day. We made it a full year.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
You know, when I first told people who know both of us that we were going to do this, they had some concerns, and most of those concerns centered on you.
Wait, me?
Yeah, like, they're like, well, he's not very prepared. He's kind of a diva.
Yeah.
And he won't really bring any pizzazz to the show. And I want people to know that they were wrong. You do bring pizzazz to the show.
Wait, what about the other things? What about
I said what I said.
The preparation? I think it's been a good combination. I do sincerely think that it's been it is an accomplishment to do a podcast for a year.
Yeah.
Do you know that the average podcast only goes 13 sessions?
Really?
Because everybody gives up. Yeah. So I think it's good that I think because I've been a pillar of accountability and conscientiousness that we've made it happen.
Yeah.
Despite your efforts, we've kept this thing on the track.
To derail you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I think that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
That makes sense. Well, in honor of our first anniversary, I thought we could each take some time to reflect upon our past year of episodes. I wanted to do this because as I was listening to some of these, and I periodically will listen to previous episodes, especially if someone has a question or a comment about something we said, and I'll listen back to them. And I think it's kind of funny that even in a year, I think how much better that we've gotten at this, how much more interesting the conversation is. But in listening to some of these past episodes, there were oftentimes questions I had of you or comments that I thought we could have made that we didn't. And so I thought we would take the opportunity to each bring to this conversation 2 or 3 example past episodes, past themes or topics, and then ask each other those questions.
Perfect.
So I'll go first. So one of the episodes that I wanted to go back to was an episode on Soulmates that we did. And I want to go back. It was episode 2. It was our second episode about soulmates. Are they real? Are soulmates the thing? And you and I went back and forth. And I think what we both discovered was we weren't necessarily in alignment that soulmates are a real thing. That was the gist of our conversation.
Yep.
But what we didn't really discuss was why it's important to believe in soulmates. Why would people want to believe in soulmates?
I have 2 reasons.
Okay.
I think one is to avoid existential dread. I think that the idea of you having a soulmate, right? You are the kind of the existential framework is that you're born alone, you're going to die alone, your life has no meaning. You have to make choices and you are responsible for the repercussions of those choices. That's like and so things feel a little bleak. But if God gave you a soulmate, if there's one person that you're supposed to meet and find, and they are with you for the course of your life, you address the existential anxiety that comes with isolation. So I think it's adaptive for that reason. The second reason I think it's adaptive is because in our society, we've sort of decided that there is value in monogamy. And if you told somebody you are in this relationship with this person because they're the right person for you, they're your soulmate, they're going to be the relationship will be more resilient than if you said to somebody like, hey, you bumped into this person when you were 22 and you thought they were hot. Now they're not. There's no reason you need to be with them, but right, then the relationship would flame out faster. But if it's this person that was made for you, maybe a little stickier.
Yeah. You said the same 2 things that I was going to say. One is security. So you mentioned it as more of an existential dread, but yes, if I think I have a soulmate, then I am going there's a sense of security there that this person is for me. And then the second point you made, during times of stress or during difficult times, if I actually believe that, Jen is my soulmate, I may be more likely to overcome an obstacle, fight for the relationship, even if it's difficult to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
So those were my two things. I think in general too, it can just feel good again, because at least in our culture, that this is a pretty strong prevailing notion that a lot of people will believe in soulmates,
Yeah. Yep.
that it just feels like, I think, emotionally very satisfying to
Yeah.
feel like you found
Mhm.
someone that you're connected with, and that's your one person.
Yeah. Yeah. It's adaptive
Yes.
for sure. Yep.
Yep.
All right. That's good.
All right.
All right.
Your
You want,
turn.
I got some questions for you. Do you remember it was one of the first times I forced you to do a pop culture topic?
Okay.
Lily Phillips.
Oh, I
She's
remember Lily
Do you remember her?
Phillips.
So there's Lily Phillips, who's well known because she's a OnlyFans star
Hmm.
and from the UK, and she slept with 100 guys in one day.
Yep.
There was this documentary, and in the documentary afterwards, she is super tearful and she is talking about how it's really intense. And we were talking about how, she's a victim of trauma and this is a self-harming behavior.
Hmm.
Then after Lily Phillips, you and I never talked about it, but there's another similarly oriented OnlyFans star named Bonnie Blue,
Right.
who's famous for doing 1,000 people in one day. The logistics of which I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand how that works either.
But we spent a lot of time talking about Lily Phillips, and then on my other channel, I spent time talking about Bonnie Blue, like what creates this kind of behavior. But what we haven't spent much time talking about is the men. So the question for you is, when you think about that, what makes a guy want to get in a line with 999 other men to take a turn on Bonnie Blue or to take a turn with Lily Phillips?
I think framing it that way does not probably is not the reason why guys want to do it. If I had a guess, one of the things we've talked about parasocial relationships on this show before,
Mhm.
and I'd imagine that people who are really, there are people who follow porn stars. Like I don't know many now, but I remember, back in the day, like Jenna Jameson when I was a teenager, like that I knew of her. Like she was a famous porn star.
I never heard of her, but I appreciate
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
you get it. Yeah.
invest in
Okay.
that.
Um did I ever tell you, speaking of porn stars from the 90s and 2000s, I was on a plane, I think flying from LA to St. Louis, and oh, who is the dude? He's not the most attractive, but was very well endowed. Um
Ron Jeremy?
Ron Jeremy was on my flight.
Really?
He was on my flight to St. Louis from LA. I'm not sure for what reason, but
Mhm.
I had a close encounter with a porn star. That was the closest I've gotten to a porn star, apparently. Anyway, but going back to parasocial relationships, I wonder if that is part of the drive. Is like you see someone and it's a one-way relationship, and then all of a sudden you get the opportunity to actually meet them. It's weird, but it's almost like people who wait in line to get autographs from someone or meet someone that like a musician or an actor, someone they know. This is just a very different, more intimate way to know them, but it's a way to kind of fulfill that two-way relationship with someone.
That is an interesting take, and I think you're right, and I would not have got there.
Yeah.
Like, when I think about it, I think, okay, these are obviously men that these are women who have been objectified to the point that they've not been humanized in any way. So it doesn't feel like you're taking advantage of this woman, and are you're not in any healthy relationship outside of it, and so you're able to sort of minimize the impact. But I didn't think about, I think those things are true. And you're right that it's a little bit like it's transactional. It's like, hey, will you sign my butt cheek, or do we just have sex? It's the
Right.
same in their mind. It's the same thing. I'm going to do the thing that this person does, and they're not thinking any more than that.
Yep.
It's like a thing they can say they did,
Right.
right? You met Tom Cruise, and I slept with Lily Phillips.
Right. And because it's such a like a pop phenomenon. That's something that you feel like you can get more wrapped up in
Mhm.
that whole thing. Another thing that comes to mind for me is like there's this oh what's like it's not social comparison. There's a term that I can't come up with. Social proof. Like if you're
Mhm.
around other famous people, it makes you just feel better about yourself.
Mhm. Yep.
Especially if I think I'm a guy and I think, hey, I'm a I'm masterful in the bed. But the ultimate way for me to prove that is I get to have sex with a porn star, and maybe in my mind, I think she's gonna like it. I get to help someone else who does this for a living, who's a professional, feel
Well,
even
even
better about herself.
that even more than that, think about it from the vantage point of I think it's called social proof, but if you were to, maybe it's not social proof, but what is it, Rob, where if I'm looking for a sandwich shop, I can choose the sandwich shop that has nobody going in it, or right next door, I can wait for a half an hour to get a
Yeah,
sandwich.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And in that way, the line outside the door at the sandwich shop
Yes.
suggests this is a really good sandwich.
Mhm.
So if I line up with 900 other dudes, I'm getting a really good sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this situation, the line out the door is probably not the selling point again. I mean, maybe.
But maybe it like there's part of it. You're part of a you are kind of part of a community. You're part of a
Yeah.
crowd. You're part of these people that do this thing.
Mhm.
You've met your people.
Yes.
Man, that's
The yeah, it's weird. I think the last thing that comes to mind for me is if you were an experience craver and sex is part of the way that you demonstrate or you have those different experiences. I mean, I don't know, what the highest level is that you could achieve, but having sex with a porn star is like, all right, well, I mean, again, I'm having sex with a professional here. Like, I can check this thing that almost no one else can check off their bucket list. I can check off my bucket list
yeah.
of experiences. Like, it makes me feel special
Mhm. Yep.
or unique.
Yep. Yeah. It reminds me of people that they want to lose their virginity to a prostitute
Yeah.
because then they're getting
Right.
the pro.
Yeah. Agreed.
Interesting. But in any of those cases, right, you are the person is an object. It's not a real human, right? It's a
Yeah.
person
I
of
mean,
service to you. It's a thing that it's an experience that you're receiving versus
yes.
there being a connection.
Yeah. It's like going on vacation or, going to an amusement park.
Yeah.
You're there for the experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, another episode that I checked out, and I wrote it down here again. It was episode 5. Are you the asshole? As people who listen to us know, that Reddit is the only social media that I tend to frequent. And on Reddit, there is a thread called "Am I the asshole?" where people will just put their personal stories on and ask other people in the "Am I an asshole?" community, "Am I the asshole in this situation?" Listening to this episode, before I get to my point, I did listen to parts of it again. And this is where you shared with everyone why one reason why you're a terrible person. You're a terrible person because in those places where where two street or two lanes come together, as opposed to waiting your turn,
Yeah.
you told
Yes.
everyone that you go up to the front.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
you said that you would, because of our conversation, you would do that less frequently. I
Yes.
think this is a good opportunity to ask, have you been doing this less frequently?
No, but no, I I can't remember. I feel like we talked and it's funny, it's like I blacked out when you were talking about all the reasons why it was bad behavior. I know that it was bad behavior, but I don't remember what the explanation. And when you were saying it's because of people like you that that line exists.
Mhm.
And I'd like to save the 20 minutes. And so I look out for number 1 on the onward. If it's a really long line, then I just did it this morning. They the the construction's happening. They're saying like, "Hey, you should get over," but they're doing it like a mile ahead of time.
Right.
No, thank you. I'll wait. I wait to the very end and then
Yeah, I mean, I don't
feel
I'm
really
not the
bad.
back of the line, yeah.
And I'd tell you that I do. Just this morning, I was thinking, I hope no one shoots me. Like if I cut in front of them and then someone can just go, you know what? I don't like that behavior. So I do feel guilt and shame about it.
Yeah,
Does that
but
make me less of an asshole?
I mean, I guess, I mean, are we gonna evaluate you based on on your feelings or your actions? I think it's more your actions, so
Mhm. Now, maybe a big question for you is, have you started being a bit more aggressive on the road?
I mean, I would describe myself as appropriately aggressive on the road, but I balance it with following the rules of society so that it doesn't erupt into chaos and anarchy. You don't seem to care.
Mm-mm. But you are, just for the record, an aggressive driver. Like, I don't know about zippering in, but I've ridden with you and you are not you're not slow on the road.
No, no, but I still follow most of the rules.
Yeah, it's, I mean, the passenger might be a little bit nauseous as they keep up with you accelerating. Rob drives a Tesla and he's all brake or all gas is what I would tell you.
I get that feedback from most people who drive with me, so it doesn't bother me.
Doesn't yeah.
Um, but the question that I had based on that episode that we didn't really talk about is when is it okay or even good to be an asshole?
I,
When would you suggest and support someone's assholery?
that's a good question. I think it is okay to be an asshole. What I want to say is this is not going to be the right answer, but it's when nobody is going to take care of you. It's no one's job to look out for you. And there are times when you have to take care of number one. And so, like, if your needs are not going to be met and your needs are reasonable, it's okay to advocate for yourself, even if it makes you an asshole. What do you
That's
think?
my answer too. Is especially as it relates to people who struggle setting boundaries or people pleasers or those who just give and give of others. I think the definition of asshole here can depend upon the situation, the person. Sometimes it just might be acting in ways that are different than how the people expect you to behave or act. But yeah, I think having setting boundaries about what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do may come across as being an asshole to some because it seems maybe a bit self-serving or selfish, but is actually beneficial for you. And at times, it makes sense for you to focus on your needs.
Can you think of an example of when you had to do that where you're like, that was the right thing to do, even though I was an asshole?
No, because I'm a people pleaser, so nothing comes to mind for me, especially in my personal life. I don't know. I can't come up with one. Can you?
I can think of it like that. Allison, I think, my wife can be an asshole, like on behalf of the kids. That I won't be, and
Mm,
in the moment, I'm like, oh my god, like, can we not? Like, do we need to do that?
yeah.
And she gets done what needs to get done. Like the example I'm thinking of is we were flying to Europe, and Allison had paid for our plane tickets for us to sit together, and then Lufthansa moved us apart. So it was 2 seats in one area and 2 seats in another with kids at the time. They were like 7 and 4. And Allison was like, the kids need to sit with us. And she rose holy hell at the front desk. And it was enough that I had to walk away because I was like, I can't, she's screaming at this lady. And like we had done everything right. And if she didn't make a
Yep.
statement, it would have happened. And they ended up having to move other people so that we would sit together. But our family flew together to Europe. Like, had she not advocated for herself, we would have had to split the kids up, or it would have been difficult in some way.
Yeah. I think that's when I'm more likely to do it. I can't remember all the specifics, but this was a long time ago where I felt someone was not being very nice or respectful to my wife, Jen. I mean, this was probably maybe we were just even dating. And I remember going off on this person on behalf of her. And I think in other words, I'm more comfortable doing it on behalf of probably someone else who I care about than I am to do it for myself.
I don't know why that feels easier because I
Yeah.
guess it's yourself. You know how much you can take,
Yeah.
right? Versus you don't know how much your wife's gonna. It's not good to have your wife be hurt.
Right. So it made more I was a lot more comfortable addressing that situation than I would have been if someone I'm sure was doing or saying those same things to me.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm trying to think if there's anything where I've done it for myself, and the only one I can think of is I've told you this offline, Rob, but we got at work, we got feedback from people that work with us, and one of the pieces of feedback I got was that David's really good at receiving feedback. He just doesn't act on the feedback, which I think is totally true, and that is good criticism.
Right. I
And
shared that with you in private. I didn't want everyone to know that that's what I wrote about you, but go ahead.
and I do think that at times there's times when I've gotten feedback and I will say to one of the managing partners, um, I hear the feedback, I disagree with it, and I'm not going to integrate it.
Mhm.
Like there are times where I just go, I just straight disagree. I'm not going to sacrifice my view of what happened for what you're sharing. And there's
Yeah.
times when I think that that's an adaptive quality versus always being like, okay, I got the feedback. I guess I have to do something different now. There are times when you just go like, I think that that's totally wrong, and I don't care that you're telling me to go a different direction.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Mhm.
You said work, and I guess at work, I don't think this is being an asshole, but there are times when we might be engaging in a conversation, and I think people are more circling a point, or as opposed to getting to a point, and I may be more likely to say, "All right, well, what's actually going on here? Like, can we just say what we need to say, and then let's move on to something else?" Like, that's just me being direct,
Yeah.
but it could be perceived as being a bit more of an asshole depending upon the person, I guess.
Yeah, I think when you're like you I think you're very nice, and there's like a you hit a point where you're direct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But you have I think you pulled off because you have the pre-existing relationship that doesn't feel so it's not
Right.
like coming out of nowhere from somebody.
Right. That's not the sole way they experience me.
Yeah. Okay, I got an episode for you.
Okay.
Early on, we did conspiracy theories.
Yes.
And we were talking about how between the two of us, I maybe am a little bit more prone to a conspiracy theory
Mhm.
than you. I want to revisit that because I feel like there's been things that have, at the time, we were talking about Trump getting shot at from if you remember, from a flat roof that the Secret Service couldn't go on because it was too pitched, right? And there was like all kinds of odd things happening. And you were like, you're a government shill. That's what your view was then. The question is, after Epstein, after the Trump administration came out and said, Trump says, and Kash Patel says, I got the list on my desk. Then all of a sudden they come out and they go like, what are you talking about? There's no list. They say there's only one video camera in the Epstein jail cell. No, there's two cameras. They say Epstein was alone. No, there's video evidence. There was people all over the place. As all of the data comes out, do you now go, I got to look at this whole government thing a little bit differently?
Maybe a little bit. I'll give you that, but I think again, if I just go back to what makes the most sense, I don't know if this is a conspiracy or not, but there are likely a number of very powerful people who are still living who don't want their names associated with this list.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know if Trump is one of them or not. I think it certainly makes sense that he would be given the information that I've seen since then. So I think you have that compounded with the fact that he generally tends to be someone who says whatever he wants to say and doesn't really think about any long-term implications
Mhm.
of what that might mean. And so on the campaign trail, yeah, I think he said a lot of things about this. Him and his supporters, who I think now, at least some of them, are kind of upset because he said he was going to do this on like day one and it's still not happened. And he seems to be pussyfooting around it now.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's a conspiracy or not. I think if you just follow logic, a logical thing, a logical reason why is he and or other powerful people are associated with this and they don't want to experience all of the negativity that would result from their names being publicly identified. So is that a conspiracy?
Yeah, yeah. If the question is, does Rob think that a list exists, that our government has access to it, and then has decided to bury it?
Sure.
Oh, look at
Bury
you.
it's a strong
Oh,
word. To not yeah, to not to not reveal what's on the list. Yep.
I'd like to just understand the mental gymnastics around not burying it, but not allowing anybody to look at the list. What?
Well, I
What?
mean, burying it would I guess to me I hear bury and I think, well, let's prevent people from knowing this exists. It seems
Yeah.
to me that it exists, and so they're just not sharing it. So there isn't a conspiracy necessarily as to whether or not this list exists, right?
No, no. They said it doesn't exist.
Oh, okay. I did not catch that. Okay. So then
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit then I guess they are trying to bury it.
All right. Okay. I feel good about that. Where are you at now with the shooter? People trying to shoot Trump. Was the CIA involved
No.
or Secret Service involved?
No. Why? Why? I mean, every president who gets shot at, I'm sure there's been some sort of conspiracy that the CIA or some other secret government organization has been involved.
All right. Well, you're not there yet, but you're moving the right direction. I think. I think
So
we.
where are you on the Epstein? I mean, I know broadly where you are. What are
I
your thoughts?
think. I wish I knew who the comedian was. I forget who the comedian was, but he was saying something like, "I understand that not everything is a conspiracy, but the idea that the government's batting 1,000 is ridiculous.
Sure.
Like, they must be lying to us about some things.
Sure.
And when there are things that happen that seem so outside of reasonable, then I have to question it. So, like the Trump getting shot by a guy on a flat roof so close. I just think that that's and that nobody had he brought a ladder and put it up on on a small building and climbed up there. I feel like somebody within the Secret Service protected that. I think something was going on. I'm bought in on that one. I think that Epstein did not kill himself. I think somebody killed Epstein. I think there was a list, and I think people in our government are on it, and they're burying in the list. Do I
The
sound
first
good?
one sounds
That's
crazy to me. The second one sounds less crazy to me.
yeah, I don't know. I don't trust anybody.
I know, but that's the thing, right? People who
That's
believe
the
in
personality.
conspiracies are more primed to think that.
I wish there was data. I know that there's not. I know it's the opposite, but I wish there was data suggesting that people that believed in conspiracy theories were like more discerning and better problem solvers.
Yeah. In
It
fact,
does
yeah,
not.
to your point, it's probably the opposite.
I have searched for that data that does not exist.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep searching, man.
Yeah.
Um, all right. I have one more that I want to go back. Or you have something else to say?
Not about this. I got another topic for you.
Okay. I have one more. So I mentioned parasocial relationships. We did a whole episode on parasocial relationships. And this was as it relates to Taylor Swift because it was a request from my wife. In that episode, you said that you have maybe some quasi parasocial relationships. You mentioned Bert Kreischer as an example.
Hmm. Yes.
And then I said, I don't. I don't have any. Upon further reflection, though, I think I do because I didn't expand the definition of parasocial relationships to fictional characters. So I may have a parasocial relationship with an actual person. If you think about it again, parasocial relationships, it's a one-way relationship where you feel more connected to that person and they have no idea who you are,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But if I think of like TV shows that I like a lot, like 30 Rock,
Yes.
when that show ended, or Game of Thrones, two good examples for me. When those shows ended, part of the reason, especially with Game of Thrones, I think me and a lot of other people who watched the show had such a negative reaction to the ending is because we had followed these characters for how many years? 7 years.
Yep.
And then it ended the way that it did.
Yep.
And it was like, no, like I know these people. That's not what would happen here. And I felt that way too. I'm like, how ridiculous is it to end a series like this with this
Mhm.
ending?
Mhm.
On the other side, when a show like 30 Rock ends and I watched to the very end, and when it was over, I was sad. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not going to see anything new
Yes, you're not gonna see
from
Liz
these
Lemon again.
characters ever again.
Yeah.
Like it's over. And I really enjoyed that interaction. So to the extent that that's a parasocial relationship with a fictional character or set of characters, I would say I do have those.
Wait, who on 30 Rock is your
I mean, I think
all
all of them. Certainly Liz Lemon. I mean, Alec Baldwin's character,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
The supporting characters, all I mean, it's probably more just more with the cast
Mhm.
overall and the stories, but
Mhm.
certainly, with Tina Fey and Alec Baldwin leading the charge there with both of them.
Mhm. Mhm. So I've been thinking more about this Taylor Swift phenomena. I did I was not a I was not on the Taylor Swift bus before, and I don't like her music, but I'm trying to think like, well, why is she so much more popular than other pop stars? Let's just take her music out of it because I think her music is great, but I don't know that her music is that much better than everybody else's. I'm sure
Correct.
the Swifties will come after me, but it's whatever
Yeah, I
pop
mean,
music.
it's pop music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But um she's consistently talking about her life and doing it in a really transparent way, eh, much more transparently than her peers.
Yep.
Like Britney Spears has had a lot going on in her life, but her like response to the conservatorship or her response to the paparazzi mistreating her or her father has been to be sort of vulnerable, and the audience, which loves her very much, has had to like sort of protect her, but it hasn't been Britney reaching out to the audience. The audience has watched her and cared about her.
Right.
Christina Aguilera, uh, I don't know. I mean, I think she had a traumatic background. She had some weight challenges. Like that's all that I know that she talked about, but pretty guarded, like with her personal life.
Hmm.
Whereas with Taylor Swift, every stage of her like discography is like it represents a phase of her life. The
Yep.
songs are all diaries. It's been like an intentional effort to loop people in on her stuff. I did a reaction to the engagement on my other channel, and I said the fans were there when she bought her masters back from Scooter Braun.
Yep.
People were pissed. That's not what happened. What happened was that Scooter Braun bought her stuff, bought her masters. Taylor goes, "What the hell?" Has to re-record all of the masters.
Yep.
Scooter Braun then gets pressure from the Swifties, sells the masters to another entity she then buys them back from.
Right.
Like the fans were part of getting
Yeah.
them back for her. So like there's this thing where she's in it with her fans different than her contemporaries. And I also think even on that New Heights podcast, the stories are boring in a way that to me feels humanizing. Like it's just inside. She seems like a regular woman in a
Yep.
relationship. And
Yep.
I would be like sort of if you're not a Swifty, you'd be just as interested in Taylor's stories as you would be Susie's down the street, which is why you're not interested in it. But I think if you're a Swifty, like the fact that you have a billionaire that you're part of this community, I think that's why it's so sticky for people.
I agree completely. I mean, I think she found that niche first, is doing it apparently best.
Yep.
And I think that would be, I mean, that's part of the reason my wife likes her so much is
Mhm.
there is that strong connection
Yeah.
to her
Yeah.
in a way that she feels in which she doesn't feel that way with, I don't think, any other musician or actor or anything else like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right. Well, Dave, it was fun going down this memory lane here with you. I look forward to another another year of awesome conversation.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Thank you,
uh,
Rob. It has been fun. And those of you that are listening, if you have other ideas for future episodes, shoot us an email at shrinkspaceshow@gmail.com.
and follow us wherever you listen to your podcast. But you did mention something that I want to make sure we come back to. You said in the beginning of the show, we should each talk about one thing that really pisses off the other person
Yes,
about this. I mean, are you not ready to have that conversation?
I
Because
do. Well,
I'm ready.
I briefly, and nothing that pisses me off. The thing that bothers me the most, and it bothers me, you are my mother-in-law goes to my wife, goes, I've been listening to the Shrink Space podcast. I really like how thoughtful Rob is. And it drives me nuts because I feel like you're always like, oh, well, it could be. You
Composed and
always,
rational. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I like a more, uh, a little nuttier vibe. I don't want my family thinking that you're the rational one.
Yeah. You know what's funny is when I talk to my family, and especially those who listen, what I hate is when they compliment you and they say, "He's so funny. He's so witty."
Good. I like your family.
And I don't like it for two reasons. One, because I think they're wrong. And two is because so much of my ego is based on my ability to be kind of witty and have quick reactions to something. I don't like the fact that I'm on a show with someone who competes with me in that arena. I don't like that.
Good. Good. Tell your family I love
But
them.
I guess I'll have to get over it.
All right. Thanks,
All
Rob.
right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye, Dave.